TV on the program Just Politics. Today we have a man at the center of Kwara political movement, right from opposition to ruling party, from federal to state. I'm talking about the chairman of YPP, Young Progressive Party in Kwara State. I thought when I say Mr. Charles Afolayan, you're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for having me. If we talk about Kwara politics, or if we talk about Nigeria in general, I think to a lot of people, you are not a new name, you are not a new face, you are not a new god. Please, can you tell us a little bit about your antecedents?
Well, thank you very much. When we talk about myself, what has to do with politics? Well, I started politics when I was in school days. I served the student union government of my school, the Federal Polytechnic then. And from there, of course, I've served as the, Secretary, Welfare Director of the Federation of Kwara Student Union. That's my local government. Of course, while I was in school, I served as a chapter, as the Vice President of National Association of Kwara State Students in the chapter of my school. And then moving forward, I've been part of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. I aspired for National Public Secretary of the Youth Council in 2012 and the aborted Congress in Makoti. And of course, I joined mainstream politics since 2011 because I worked with someone who was a politician and subsequently I was appointed as a legislative aide in the National Assembly in 2012. I served there to 2015. All this time I was, of course, actively involved in politics because of my principle and, of course, what I love to represent the people. Before I moved into the presidency in 2016 as a technical assistant, the office of the SHO President of Youth and Student Affairs. This also got me get involved more in politics because working, in the executive arm of government, you have to continue to work for the sources of your principle. Before I moved, and of course, to join Young Progressive Party, when it was newly formed, I was the pioneer national public secretary of the party, and later became the national youth leader of the Young Progressive Party. However, because of the Utopia revolution, because of the concern about people in Kwara, as at that time when there was serious political hegemony running the state, and people felt that this is not giving us what we want. The state needs to be through democratic, institutions, and then the state needs to be run like a state, not like an estate. The state needs to give people opportunity to, elect the kind of people they want, which we must say that the voice of the people was heard in 2019 during the Utopia revolution. However, we have beneficiaries of those, of that struggle to be people possibly who are not prepared, who has their own agenda, different from what many of us have, who also want to run the system the way they want. And of course, that was what led to, or that formed part of what led to my exit with some other young people, to the Young Progressive Party again, the party that we joined like minds to form, to see that let's build this party as a credible alternative, understanding that the young people of Nigeria also are ready now to mount leadership themselves, and of course give better to the society we all belong. So what we are doing, or what led us to the Young Progressive Party, is the call from the people who have observed that what we brought first in 2019 for Kwara is not what we thought it was, or what it is. So that is why we are here, and to serve the people, to serve our young people, and we are ready.
I was talking about the Utopia revolution.
Yes.
I think now you left APC to YPP now. A lot of people will think, is this a kind of coup against the government of the day?
Obviously no. It's, YPP itself was formed based on some principle, that will lead to good governance. First, putting the young, energetic, intelligent, vibrant, resourceful young people at the front border of politics of Nigeria, allowing them to display their potentials, their skills that is actually needed at this age. Because talk about even politics itself right now, technology is playing major role in the way we do politics. You agree with me? We are running currently, an online interview. This couldn't have been possible without the adventure of course, of technology. And look at the young people that are running it. If they can run this, they can run something better. If given opportunity, that's one thing. What makes YPP, come on board? And then, secondly, and most importantly as well, is the spirit of service, which is lacking among the people that have had opportunity to be in one or two positions, either through PDP or APC. The service, by you first understand that you are in position of power to serve the people. You are not there to acquire land cruisers and Lexus. You are not there to begin to build houses everywhere. You are not there to begin to move left and right and take chieftaincy titles. Those are not the things. You are there actually to serve the people. What are the problems they are facing? How do we get it done? But the way it is now today, it is that people get to political power and see it as an opportunity to enrich themselves. So the first signal they want to show you is that now they are not big men. Where is the service that we claim we want to do to the people? It's shocking that when you elect your leaders today, they don't want to even see you anymore. Those you have been talking together, your colleagues, they don't even want to have you talk to them. This is not what we said. This is not what we're supposed to be doing as leaders. So YPP is coming to bridge this gap and then give service to the people. And that is why this is more important for us. And of course, allowing the energy, like I said, the young people themselves to do the job. This time that we cannot continue to use archaic, ideas to try to address technology-driven problems. You can't use analog brain to solve digital issues. So you need young people. What the education was, recent. They got the education recently. Many of those people who are possibly got to power has never even bothered to upgrade their CVs, or they've not bothered to train themselves. So people are proud of coming out to say, I have school certificate, and then I want to be a governor, I want to be a senator, and that's where it ends it. That shouldn't be. We need people who have the knowledge, the know-how, the skills that are current to be in the position of power. However, YPP is not just about the young people, but it's a party that prioritizes the needs, the aspirations of the young people.
I think as a youth, we need to trash out something.
Yeah.
Is it about the youth or forward-thinking individuals? Because the first thing on your agenda is that we are worried that the failure of the current political leaders to sincerely involve the right caliber of youth. So I want us to emphasize on that. It's not about just involving youth. The right caliber of youth, because I tell you, you will agree with me that the youngest governor in Nigeria today is not somebody to write home about. The youngest senator in Nigeria today, the youngest senators we have had, they are not people to write home about. So also the young people that have tasted position of power, they have not really made us proud to our satisfaction. But what will you say to that?
Why don't you also mention the youngest commissioner? Why don't you also mention the youngest?
I said the youngest people that have tasted position.
Let me quickly react to this. You see, that is why we talked about involving the right caliber of youths. It's not just about youth. The right caliber of youths. They are resourceful youths. Tell me, even in the APC or PDP, they are resourceful youths. However, they are given the role to play at the background. They are reduced to be, back carriers. For some of us that are served in the corridor, we understand what we faced. No matter how beautiful your idea is, you can't make your idea come forward because you are not the one to make the final decision. No matter how much we love the young people, no matter how much we can craft the things that can solve the problem of young people, since you are not the ones that will make the solution, you are not the one that will take the final decision whatsoever, your idea can be dumped in the basket. So when we're talking about the right caliber of youth, we are not talking about youths that are going to be given opportunities because somebody wants to remote control them. We're not talking about young people that will be put into position just for putting the youth, for the sake of putting the youth. We're not talking about that. We're talking about youth that you yourself can look at him and say, what has he done in the last 10 years, 5 years? Who is this person? Analyze what this person has done. Where has he served? What is his record? There are a lot of brilliant young people out there. So it's not even about the age. Because you could get a 25-year-old person that is very, very smart, intelligent, skillful, that can solve the issues you want to solve. So when we're talking about youth, our issue is that when they try to involve the young people, they involve those ones that they want to control. We are not saying you should not have rapport with them. They involve those ones that they can perpetually keep under their feet. They involve those ones that don't have the idea of their own. So you don't come up with your own idea. You do what you want them to do. Those are the kind of called yes sir youths. You can come up with, say, look, sir, this is what I feel about the young people. This is how I think we can solve their problem. And they say, okay, look, you can solve the problem, try your best. So we are not saying, we are not waiting for anyone to give us opportunity anymore. We are here to take the opportunity ourselves. And of course, we are ready for it. So when you talk about young people, we are talking about resourceful young people. And those that are not resourceful, don't forget, it's not their fault. They need to be trained and retrained. So it's the system that has kept them to have the kind of low knowledge that they have. So we need to build an education sector that can address the issues of young people from the grassroots. So these are the basics. And of course, you can't give what you don't have. I don't want to tame your questions. But I'm saying that if we have to build the young people, the youth development itself starts from education. And if you want to build them, you have to bring somebody that has the knowledge, the skills, the proven experience, no matter what, to build the education sector. So you can't just pick somebody from the roadside, or you met somebody in an eatery and then offer the person commissioner or something, and then you come. Those are not the kind of things we were looking for. You have to look at those people that can do the job.
All right, thank you. But to cap it up, when we talk about the youth,
yes.
When after the 2019 general election, we heard a lot about the youngest youth, I mean, youngest speakers of state house of assemblies in Nigeria, like in our state, in Oyo State, and other states like that. And we saw the, fortunately for us, we saw the oldest in history, and the oldest Kwara state speaker of House of Assembly. So what I'm saying is, what would you say about the youth? Have they really made us proud? Have they really done the things you would have wanted the youth to be?
Two things. If you are expecting youth to deliver, you must also give them the room to somebody, like I mentioned earlier, to make decision on his own, and you're expecting him to deliver. He can't. How will he deliver? You can't bring a youth, no matter how intelligent or resourceful, into a system where people are cowed, into a system where people are controlled remotely, and you're expecting him to deliver. You can't bring youth into a system. You mentioned the House of Assembly. You know what the governors are doing with the House of Assemblies. So we don't need to come here and talk about that. House of Assembly at times has turned to a tool in the hand of governors. Because many of people feel that they help them to get to that positions. We don't want to go back to what has been happening in the previous, previously in the APC. But this is an open wound. How people get tickets. Do you want to tell me there are a lot of shenanigans that happen, which we don't want to continue to open here? How people campaign rigorously, and suddenly their name disappear in the ballots of political parties. So, if we get people who does not deserve position in the first place, that is a system. Anyone who wants to run, a one-man show, in quotes, system of government will deploy to bring people who does not have the capacity to be in those positions, who does not deserve those positions in the first place. You give them, and they will keep quiet because you have helped them to get them there. But when you give someone who works for it, who deserves it, who planned for it, they will deliver. So the issue of young people delivering is different. The system that has produced some of these people you mentioned that are young people are not performing very well, their issues can be divided into several, stages. One, how they got to power. Two, Were they trained? Do they have the capacity? So we're looking at to build up a system where young people will be, given opportunity based on merit. Where those who don't have the skills will be built. They are not useless after all. Everybody wants to be great. It is the opportunity that has not been available for people. So we need to put this at the front burner and allow people to be built. And that is one of our focus. So if you want young people to deliver, we need to build a system that gives them opportunity without fear of favor.
Thank you very much. I will start with your first sentence where you answer my question. You talk about what governors are doing with House of Assemblies in Nigeria. And I think sometimes this year, not too long ago, the president signed House of Assembly and local government autonomy bills. And all of a sudden, all the governors, they came, kudos to the Kwara State governor, because he came out to say that he's with the president. Whatever the president says, he's okay with that. But all of a sudden, we saw that the governors were united. They came out with a statement that, okay, we are not for this. The House of Assemblies are not ripe. The local governments is not ripe too. What would you say about that?
Are you saying Kwara State governor came out to go against those governors?
No.
He was part of the meeting they went to in Abuja.
No, sir, what I'm saying is this.
To stop the president from implementing that autonomy.
Immediately the statement comes out. Immediately the bill was assented to.
Yes.
There was a statement from the Kwara State House of Assembly.
The
Kwara State government house that we are with the president.
Cool. And this is what I'm saying. Do we have governors? The statement at the meeting they had with the president was what they did unanimously. If you go back to the news, to look at it, it was a unanimous decision of the governor. There were no governors that came out to say what our colleagues were doing were wrong. If anybody said, well, you are with the president, yes, you can be with the president and at the same time not going with what he has done. If I give my nod to my colleagues, that go ahead, fight it. The statement of with the president does not come to play.
Sir, we have 36 states in Nigeria.
Yes.
Our government cannot only stand out to fight.
As our governor pulled out of Governor Forum, as he pulled out of Progressive Governor Forum. So if they said Governors Forum said this, he's one of them. If they said Progressive Governor Forum said it, he's one of them. So you can't dissociate yourself to look good to people. No. And if you are saying that, you're talking of local government autonomy. Who is stopping us from conducting local government elections? If the governor believes that he is for local government autonomy, let him go ahead, allow Kwara State Electoral Commission to conduct local government elections so people can be legitimately elected.
There are cases in court on that.
Who instituted those cases? Who caused those cases? Can we withdraw those cases? If the governor feels that he wants local government autonomy, then we withdraw the case. In the first place, why do we have to dissolve elected Kwara State Electoral Commission members? Why do we have to dissolve them? Those people are challenging their dissolution in court. Because it was even wrong in the first place to have dissolved them. If we are so sure that we are popular, or if the governor is so sure that his party or him is popular, there should be no fear of who conducts the election. The election can be conducted. It's the people that will vote. So what is the fear? So it's not about the governor coming out to say, I'm with the president or local government autonomy. No. What practice are we making? How long does it take us to have commissioners in Kwara? I'm not sure if there's a chief of staff now, anyways. How long will that take after the death of the former chief of staff? What is the situation of the local government in Kwara? Obviously, the tenure of those who are there has expired. What is happening? What is the solution? The local government as it is being run by DPM and all of them.
The governor has come out to say over and over again that he has nothing to do with the allocation of the local government, the IGRs of the local government. He has nothing to do with that.
Who has something to do with it, please? Is it traditional rulers?
I saw the DPMs are there and they
so, are the DPM there operating on their own? Who are they reporting to?
The DPMs are civil servants.
Do we have local government service commission? Yes. Who appointed the chairman and the members of local government service commission? And what is their responsibilities? You see, we can continue to come to talk to people, to get people's sympathy, forgetting that there are people, not all of us are, not all of us are gullible. Some kind of statement that are coming out from the state government are only meant for gullible society. They are not meant for those who understand governance and those who understand the system. And unfortunately, because there is also low awareness in the public about governance, we have people just come out to chunk out ideas and people clap for them. We have governors, implementing local government kind of projects and they are receiving applause from the people. The people themselves don't know the kind of what they deserve, and that is the first of the problem. If we say, look, we want a change of system in Kwara, we are talking of a drastic change, paradigm shift from the old order to new order. From a system where things are working, not where you need to ask, are things working? We are sitting down here, you don't need to ask anybody in Nigeria about what is the name of the Borno State governor. Those who are not from Borno State, they don't understand it, they know it. Something projected his name out. I'm not here to speak for him anyways, or to campaign for him. But when you see good things, you have to mention it.
Our governor came out as the best governor of leadership newspaper. So I think we have different ways of measuring. The Borno State government is in the process of rebuilding the state because the state has been bastardized by insurgency. Our governor is here rebuilding an economy
that has not been bastardized. Our economy too has been bastardized. It's not only by Boko Haram that you talk about bastardizing or destruction of a state. This state has been destroyed over the years and it needs serious repair. And how? For us to get solution to the issues of the state, the first thing we need are people that has the capacity to do so.
But listen, what I will say on that is that the Borno State governor, please mind what I'm going to say. What we see is building of schools, building of roads. We are talking about systematic changes. Some things that are invisible that we might not be able to feel till the next 20 years.
So I'm not taking from your word, invisible. So if it's invisible, how do you see it?
Like I'm just want to say systematic changes.
So what is the system? And that's what we are saying. And we are talking about our dear state Kwara. What system has changed? Please, maybe you need to let me know. What system has changed? There was so much noise about local contractors giving the job of Kwara to local contractors. How many local contractors has gotten contract of Kwara State, excuse me, from my own local government and go back to my own ward? And I will mention to you contractors that are currently working big jobs in Kwara that are Lagosians.
But sir,
I'm not just talking of Lagosians.
Enetu has come out to tell us that over 15 contractors are currently working in Kwara State for Kwara State government. Over 15 local contractors.
Okay, 15 out of how many?
Sir.
So if there's 15, it obviously means, absolutely, if they were distributed by local governments, one local government is not having local contractor in Kwara. However, this 16 might also be just from one local government or two. So, and as far as I'm concerned, only in my village we have 16 local contractors, only in my village. So I'm not talking about other places. And what we are talking about is what is the system that has changed? How do they got the job? Are you sure it's not this job? You are aware of, so much stories about people getting jobs in millions to renovate schools that are in the hands of politicians in Kwara. So what system has changed? Politicians, I'm saying politicians that are having the favor, that are obtaining the favor of the governor. Because there's some politicians even in their party who cannot move close to the government house. So even some of them that are their leaders, they don't dare move close to their local government secretariats. So I also look at those ones they are giving. They are people who are close allies of the government, of the governor. So when you look at that, you're telling me the system has changed. What system has changed?
Are you saying we are?
And when you talk about education, I'm going to come back to that. When you talk about education, what are we having? What system has changed? We are still on chalk and blackboard system. What has changed? We are still on paper system. What has changed? How many secondary schools in Kwara State has a standard computer laboratory When do we want to start fixing them one by one? And when are we going to conclude fixing all of them across the 183 wards?
I think a lot of people will
what system has changed?
A lot of Kwarans will disagree with you on that, because we've seen a lot of changes in secondary schools. We've seen government high school, IGRS, and GRS. A lot of schools. Okay, a lot of schools have been
Sooner.
And we can't rebuild.
Was done by private individual, anyways.
We can't rebuild everything at once.
I know this. The first thing I mentioned to you, we are not saying we should fix all the problem at once, but we are saying there is a way you can pose seat, and we know that you cannot fix any problems. It starts from the kind of hands you see you are involving, and thank God for that. You can't give what you don't have, like I said. And I don't want to dwell more time about this. I'm here to talk about our political party and what we have to offer. So when you want to assess the government or what the government of Governor Abdurrahman Abdrazak has done, there are a lot of things out there. Brain Builder, just released their own research. I'm sure you must have seen that, rating every sector of this government. Nobody has contested that. Nobody has contested that. The local government administrations are there. Over 2,000 young people has just been displaced, sacked, from their job. In which whatever name you call it.
With a very good reason, sir.
That reason can be good enough for you, but it's not good for the person that lost his job or her job.
One thing I want you to know is that I'm a Kwara and you are a Kwara too.
I am.
We all are one person or the other that is affected by this sacking, or should I say this layoff. But one thing is that the government has came out to say that there are a lot of rancor in the process of getting these people in. Don't you talked about systematic changes. Do we have to place let me say mercy above merit?
I want to ask you, when you want to correct a system, please, is it bottom to top approach or top to bottom approach? By my understanding, it's top to bottom approach. A teacher can only correct the students. The students cannot correct the teacher. So, to change the system of Kwara, in that regard you mentioned, has to start from the top.
And I'll tell you that it has started from the top because the government has come out to say that he donated his salary for a lot of things in this world, in this state.
Including the security votes. The governor donated security votes.
We're talking about his basic salary.
How much is the basic salary? And how much security vote? The basic salary, I'm sure, is not up to 10% of the security vote of the government.
But sir, we've not had the governor in these states that have done that.
In this state have done that. You see, all of this, you can do that. Donate your salary to...
Even our progressive show board has not done that.
These are the things that people do just to get, media attention. To get celebrated by people who also understand the system very well. How much is the security vote of Kwara government? Maybe you guys need to put light into that. I cannot tell you the exact figure at the moment, so I don't want to be quoted to say I mentioned the figure. However, if the government wants to do that, he should also forfeit security vote, forfeit his salary. Alright? We will clap for him. But that will not replace competence and, of course, delivery that we're expecting. That will not replace being peaceful. That is not going to replace getting the rampants in grand holes. That will not replace making local government autonomy function. That will not replace House of Assembly autonomy. That will not replace good welfare for traditional rulers. That will not replace standard education in Kwara. And all you can mention. I can come out to rather promise you that I'm going to deliver this. It is because we don't want the governors to steal. That is why we are paying them salary. So but if you forfeit your salary and you are stealing, it doesn't make any sense. However, I am not saying he's stealing. I'm only saying...
Will you blame the governors?
Yeah.
I'm not mentioning. Will you blame the governors or you blame the system this time around?
For what?
For this huge amount of salary and huge amount of security votes?
We will blame the system. But the system couldn't have been this dirty if not that we have dirty leaders. A leader that has a dirty hand cannot clean a dirty system. You need people who are cleaners, and that is why the YPP has come to give opportunity to those people who are usually sidelined because they are not dirty in politics, who are usually set aside because they have bright ideas, because they are not ready to use all criminal ways to attain their seat, they are left behind. You will be shocked political party organizing primaries that we, end up throw up the worst among the candidates. So, if you're talking about system, it is the people that controls the system. However, it is vice versa. So that when we have good people who will end up be cleaning the system, when we're flushing good people into the system, naturally, we will end up be cleaning the system. But when you have people who are coming in or who came in through a very wrong system, they will want to maintain the status quo of that wrong system because that is the kind of thing they are used to. So, we can go every day blaming our system, but the system is not like this automatically. The system gets to this level because of the kind of people we inject into the system to control the affairs of our governance.
Now let's go to this. As young, we are talking about young progressive party. As young people with fresh ideas, what do you think we can do to change all this?
A whole lot. Just like you mentioned, fresh ideas. I wouldn't come here right now to narrate the strategy of how we will do things better. But I will tell you first, the first strategy is getting the right people for the job. That is what is lacking currently in the system, both the state and the national. When people are, in fact, in the civil service system, in our system, people are recruited either as leaders, politicians, or even civil servants through a system of man-o-man. And that's why you'll be shocked that your mate that you graduated from school that had first class is still at home looking for a job. And the ones that has third class is already working in CBN. Because they are not, the system is not operating by credibility or meritocracy, call it. The system is operating by so-called connections. So, if we have to change that system, we need to look at it that way. And that is the same system we are using in appointing people today. It's the same system you are using in distributing palliatives. You can see what happened. People distribute palliatives based on political parties and my friends, structure. It is not by people who need it. It's not that people can get the job done. And I was telling a friend that we have a lot to do as people. And one of the things why people is also bringing that is different is this merit. What am I talking about? We are recruiting security officers, police in Nigeria system, and eminently qualified, have the skills, the knowledge, the character that is needed in the police. And then the other 5 doesn't have it, but they have people that will give them letters. And those who does not have the knowledge, the skills and character got into the police. And those who have the knowledge, skills and character form themselves into a group of criminals. How would those people defeat them? So we need to change this. And like I said, service. So we have a whole lot of needs that are coming on board. YPP is not about me. It's about those young people that has been start coming today. We have been to 2 local governments to receive the capis who are coming to the party. Young, intelligent people who knows what they're doing, men and women. So at the end of the day, we're going to be building a group, a structure of young people that has a solution to our problems. Problem solvers, not figureheads.
That brings me to my next question.
Thank you.
Nigerian democracy is highly monetized. Democracy everywhere is expensive.
Yeah.
We, as young people, even I think to become a president in Nigeria, I think you cannot spend more than 2 billion or something. You want somewhere around 1 to 2 billion.
Okay.
And do you think we have a 40-year-old man that has 2 billion to spend on political campaigns?
This is it. You see, the Young Progressive Party is not about somebody wants to become president. Somebody wants to become this or that. when you talk about politics in Nigeria being monetized, yes, we're all aware of this. However, one of the major places that got finance from those who want to aspire for offices is even pre-elections, activities within political parties. We have been in political parties, we have played active role in politics. You'll be shocked that a lot of money will exchange hands just for you to become a gubernatorial candidate of a political party. It is like you go and procure it. The highest bidder. First, YPP is ending that. We are not expecting people to bribe our members to become a Guba candidate. Or we are not expecting people to go to national, to go and donate or drop a huge amount of money to suppress the will of the people. Our party will give the platform for everybody who are qualified to run for elections, to run fairly, emerge fairly, and contest the election. You won't see us exchanging envelope to run for president. And when you can end that, sorry, can I go ahead? When you can end that, 1 minute. When you can end that, you would have been solving more than 70% of the financial burden for a candidate. Most of the publics that are voting, how many people can you reach out to give them 10,000 or 5,000 before they elect you? And I can tell you, Kwara, for example, the Otoga revolution was not because of money. I said it recently in the discussions in one of the media releases we made. I work closely, not at distance, with the current governor of Kwara State, Alhaja Razak Abdraman. I work closely with the other sister, Senator Aragwadabi. Both of them, I said, I never demanded 1 naira from any of them. And I never received 1 naira from any of them. I wasn't interested. I was interested in a Kwara that works. In a Kwara that produces sincere leader. In a Kwara where ordinary person, in Moro, in Okero, in Ekiti, in Kayama, in Banti, will feel the impact of governance without belonging to either AA or PP group. That is the kind of Kwara we work for in 2019. And of course, it's kind of Kwara we are working for now. We will get there in 2023. By God grace.
Well, thank you very much. But I think my boss here will remember that. I think sometimes, not too long ago, I was happy to represent my media house at a gubernatorial election. We did a lot of things. We run a lot of research before we went there, and we realized that the governor was owing a lot of salaries. Like the money, the governor was gulping a lot of what do we call it, security votes and a lot of that. Everybody was expecting the governor to lose, but all of a sudden, people changed their minds. On the day of the election, they were just taking money. And when you talk about your party, what about the average Nigerian on the youth that have not seen 500 naira in the last 1 year, and then he's offered 5,000 naira? Okay, go and vote for us. Then you'll be like, okay, with 500 naira, with 5,000 naira, I'll be okay for a month. What do you do to that?
These are fabricated problems for the people to keep them as slaves. In the first place, if not because of high level of poverty in society, which was fabricated by government and those who are in power. And this kind of level of poverty are poverty that empower cannot solve. But because of this poverty is so huge, that's when you can dangle 2,000, 5,000 in somebody's eye, and then the person will vote you in. It's so sad that we are still in that situation. But this situation was fabricated by government to keep people perpetually as slaves. Secondly, the problem was fabricated by government because the law is weak. It's actually an electoral crime for you to receive money to vote. Vote buying is a serious electoral offense. However, because of the beneficiaries are they benefiting, because after all, you have access to government funds and come back to the people and bribe them to vote for you, they will not allow such election to be effective. How do we solve this? is by getting in there and change things. So, if somebody is not looking at how do white people will now, overcome this, how do we now overcome this? That's why I told you that I won't come on air here to talk about the strategy we are going to use. We have a strategy for that. And of course, when the time comes, we will let it out.
We'll talk about strategy. I want to tell you that I used to study a lot about leadership and art of war. I want to tell you that even the creators of democracy, the Cleisthenes, the Socrates of this world, they came out to say that even the creators of democracy, they were victims of vote buying. When you go even to the Holy Roman Empire, there were vote buying has been existing since then. So like, it's not a problem that's just started existing today. Yeah. It's just that because of the eye opening, they gave it name. They gave it over a century old problem. You can
also study the vote buying statistics across Nigeria. I will tell you, there's some part of this country, where vote buying cannot fly. And I will say this again. With respect to Kwara in the last Otoge revolution, vote buying strategy failed because people made up their mind of where they are going to. They want political liberation. So vote buying failed. And if you agree with me, then there is an antidote for vote buying or vote buyers. So whether it has been existing for long or now is a problem that is also happening. Because of the level of education in society. You can't know that you are killing yourself. And I was citing an example to people. It is easy for some people to take some kind of drinks. I don't want to make an advert here. But there's some kind of drinks that are very loaded with sugar and carbohydrates. And you see people taking it free anyhow. But once you meet a doctor who makes you to know the content in this bottle and how dangerous or hazardous is it to your health, you'll be shocked that the same person who can take 3 bottles a day will not taste 1 bottle in 1 month. So it's about understanding what you do to yourself. And that's what I'm saying, that Kwarans or people of Kwara State in 2019 largely voted not because their vote was bought, but because they already have the understanding that that status quo will keep them perpetually in slavery. And the situation was changed. So let's work on it together. You're a young person, whichever way. Young people are out there watching. Nobody is happy with vote buying. But most importantly, nobody is happy with the level of poverty. Citing myself as an example for it, who will give me 2,000 or 3,000 to change my mind to vote for who I want? There's a reason for that. But somebody you have kept starved will take 500 naira to betray his conscience. And that is a major problem among the young people we really, really need to work on. And trust me, there's a solution to it.
Well, thank you very much. And then I think I have a question here, like Kwara politics and governance from the immediate yesterday and what we have today.
Yeah.
Do you think we have any different?
Well, by my understanding of your question, democracy itself has not been useless. Democracy has taken us forward. Governance in Kwara has gotten his own share in the democratic governance. And I can tell you that we are not where we used to be, though we are not where we want to be. And the reason why we are moving at a slow pace is bad leadership. So, for us, we need to solve the issue of leadership. We have serious deficit in leadership recruitment, and all of that. So, governance in Kwara, we have not been stagnant. Every regime of leadership in Kwara has continued to add their own value, to the system. However, little or slowly, we are not satisfied with whatever they are adding to it. But it is not that where we used to. So democracy largely has been good.
As a young concerned Kwara, let me throw two debacle. We have two debacle in Kwara State. We have, I think, these two things. I think they concern both the executive and the legislature and legislative arm of the government of the day in Kwara State. What would you say to two things? Profound solution to the two things. To FY bill, to the minimum wage debacle.
Well, it's about political will. All this is about political will. The Freedom of Information, bill has been passed. It's simple. What are you hiding? People want information. Keep it up. So I was shocked when I saw that there was a battle, back and forth with Kwara State government and some NGOs on the Freedom of Information Act. And I said, what are we hiding? If a government come out to say, we have nothing to hide, then you should comply. And for minimum wage issue is not actually a Kwara State problem. It's a general challenge. If the government feels that we don't have the capacity or the financial strength to implement minimum wage, there are 1 million ways to undo it. But like I said, I will be giving them out tips if I'm telling you what to do to that. Minimum wage is something every government or every state governor is supposed to take very serious, because those workers deserve the best. So if we are not looking into that the government has to be fighting back and forth with it, something is wrong. And those things they cannot fix are the things that we said we want to fix. So,
all right, thank you very much. Now let's go back to YPP itself. The ballot revolution of 2020.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Of course, it's also happening because of the level of education in society. You can't know that you are killing yourself. And I was citing an example to people. It is easy for some people to take some kind of drinks. I don't want to make an advert here. But there's some kind of drinks that are very loaded with sugar and carbohydrates. And you see people taking it freely anyhow. But once you meet a doctor who makes you to know the content in this bottle and how dangerous or hazardous is it to your health, you'll be shocked that the same person who can take 3 bottles a day will not taste 1 bottle in 1 month. So it's about understanding what you do to yourself. And that's what I'm saying, that Kwarans or people of Kwara State in 2019 largely voted not because their vote was bought, but because they already have the understanding that that status quo will keep them perpetually in slavery. And the situation was changed. So let's work on it together. You're a young person, whichever way. Young people are out there watching. Nobody is happy with vote buying. But most importantly, nobody is happy with the level of poverty. Citing myself as an example for it, who will give me 2,000 or 3,000 to change my mind to vote for who I want? There's a reason for that. But somebody you have kept starved will take 500 naira to betray his conscience. And that is a major problem among the young people we really, really need to work on. And trust me, there's a solution to it.
Well, thank you very much. And then I think I have a question here, like Kwara politics and governance from the immediate yesterday and what we have today.
Yeah.
Do you think we're having it different?
Well, by my understanding of your question, democracy itself has not been useless. Democracy has taken us forward. Governance in Kwara has gotten its own share in the democratic governance. And I can tell you that we are not where we used to be, though we are not where we want to be. And the reason why we are moving at a slow pace is bad leadership. So, for us, we need to solve the issue of leadership. We have serious deficit in leadership. Leadership recruitment, and all of that. So, governance in Kwara, we have not been stagnant. Every regime of leadership in Kwara has continued to add their own value, to the system. However, little or slowly, we are not satisfied with whatever they are adding to it. But it is not that where we used to. So democracy largely has been good.
As a young concerned Kwara, let me throw two debacle. We have two debacle in Kwara State. We have, I think, these two things. I think they concern both the executive and the legislature and legislative arm of the government of the day in Kwara State. What would you say to two things? Profound solution to the two things. To FY bill, to the minimum wage debacle.
Well, it's about political will. All this is about political will. The Freedom of Information, bill has been passed. It's simple. What are you hiding? People want information. Keep it out. So I was shocked when I saw that there was a battle, back and from with Kwara State government and some NGOs on the Freedom of Information Act. And I said, what are we hiding? If a government come out to say, we have nothing to hide, then you should comply. And for minimum wage issue is not actually a Kwara State problem. It's a general challenge. If the government feels that we don't have the capacity or the financial strength to implement minimum wage, there are 1 million ways to undo it. But like I said, I will be giving them out tips if I'm telling you what to do to that. Minimum wage is something every government or every state governor is supposed to take very serious, because those workers deserve the best. So if we are not looking into that the government has to be fighting back and forth with it, something is wrong. And those things they cannot fix are the things that we said we want to fix. So,
all right, thank you very much. Now let's go back to YPP itself. The ballot revolution of 2020.
yes.
What does that mean?
Of course, it needs to come out in the night when others are sleeping to go and rob, when you know that a string or a single bullet can gun you down, and then you have such acts to go and rob. It's not that these young people also want it. However, I am not saying robbery is only poverty that is responsible for robbery. But all the issue concerning the young people has led some of these youths to this level. You need to ask yourself questions. How many of our young ladies are getting themselves fed? How are they surviving? So we have a lot to do for young people.
All right, thank you very much. I think we are going to our closing remark. Please, what will be your summary and your word of advice for Kwara youth right now and towards the 2023 ballot revolution?
Yes, my advice to young people, my colleagues, my brothers, my friends, my sisters, and of course the general public, is that YPP has come because of them. They should come out, be part of this. Let us push it together. We can't do it alone. We want everybody that are like minds out there, watching us through this interview and some other interview, to be very free to approach us, to let us correct the wrongs together. We can't do it alone. And then we are also saying this, that they will go after us. They will malign us like they already do. They will come up with frivolities. They will come up with fake stories. They will use our friends against us. We should not be partout. We should not be discouraged. We should come together and do it the way we have done it before. And that is why we said, you know, Amala Awitu. Nothing should discourage us, and nothing can discourage us. A better time is coming for Kwara.
Thank you very much. A better time is coming for Kwara. Please, we have been having a lengthy conversation with the chairman of YPP in Kwara State, Mr. Charle Afolayan. He has been speaking at length about the Kwara State political space and governance. Welcome. Thank you very much, Mr. Charle Afolayan. I hope we'll be invited some other time. You grant our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much to everyone. Please, we are very sorry for being too late. I mean, a bit late behind schedule. Thank you very much. Still have fun and stay blessed. My name is Abdul Qadri Olayola.